Hello everyone, and welcome back to another adventure in electronics, robotics, and communication systems. This is ChatGPT Can It Code Part 3, and by now you know what we're here for. Challenge the chatbot to generate code, inspect that code for anything unusual, and test that code in the application. Today I will be testing whether ChatGPT can create audio based on a text description. Normally the website does not have this capability, so we are getting around that limit by asking it to generate code for something that can generate its own audio. Today, that utility is going to be GNU Octave, and for our purpose, this is the same version that I recently featured. Let's get the important stuff out of the way first. These chatbots should not be trusted for any planning or final decision making, and they will generate biased responses. This may in fact be by design, but that's a topic for another day. For now, just know that this can generate unsafe code, so verify anything that it gives you, and be sure to use sound judgment. As challenge number 1, let's start by asking for an Octave script that will create a wave file, and that wave file should sound like an American dial tone. Like normal, the chatbot seemed to understand what I was going for, and after giving the code a short review, I requested an increase in duration, and another version of the same code that can generate MP3s. I will not be using the MP3 version because I don't have those utilities installed, but the code itself is on the screen just in case anybody wants it. When this code is executed in the Octave environment, it should immediately create a WAV file in the working directory, and when played back with the right settings, it will create the sound that landline telephones in the United States create when the telephone line is ready to use. The second challenge is to create an entirely new script. This time, I'm asking it to create WAV files that sound like DTMF tones. Dual Tone Multi-Frequency, or DTMF, was created by Bell Laboratories for the terrestrial telephone network, although most of us probably know it by the touch-tone dialing system that was trademarked by AT&T in the 1960s. This time around, I have asked it for a second version of the program, and I want this new version to create spaces between symbols. After some consideration, this was unnecessary, but again, that code is here if you want to see it. By now, most of us are probably familiar with the 12-button dialing pad, but in reality, there are 16 in total. Those extra 4 buttons are usually used for other types of in-band signaling, such as priority. They are rarely used in ordinary consumer goods, but as we can see from the for loops that the program created, it is clearly aware of all 16. Finally, as challenge number 3, I am asking for international Morse code. By now, you're probably seeing the pattern here where all these systems are fairly basic, and by that I mean they generate sinusoids using the sine function. Just like MATLAB, Octave is pretty good at plotting those out, and if we wanted to, it would be fairly easy to do other signal processing operations. For today, signaling Hello World is good enough, and I've verified that the Morse code dictionary that ChatGPT generated does indeed match the international standard. Like usual, I would like to thank everybody who support this operation by sharing and interacting, and these videos do depend on your feedback. This month, I am sharing my other ChatGPT questions on Patreon and buymeacoffee.com, and of course, you can get these videos early on the decentralized platforms Minds.com and Odyssey.com video. In the near future, I will do another video on PinePhone with Postmarket OS, not to mention Raspberry Pi, Arduino, Atmel AVR, and a few others. Thank you once again, and with that, let's see how we did. The first challenge did not go as planned. When I executed the script, Octave returned the undefined error, which means it doesn't recognize the WaveWrite function. I'm using GNU Octave 5.1.1, and it turns out WaveWrite was deprecated in version 4.2, and then it was completely replaced in version 5. Its replacement is AudioWrite, and this reveals the pitfall of depending too much on ChatGPT, or automated code generation in general. But I think this one is avoidable by specifying the version number, and I'm guessing that if I had specified version 5, it would not have used this obsolete function. Anyway, fixing this just required a basic substitution, and here's how it sounds. The second test was to generate DTMF codes. Here, I had to apply the same AudioWrite fix as before, and deal with some awkwardness after momentarily forgetting how to concatenate strings. ChatGPT generated 2 for loops, and they represent the rows and columns of a DTMF keypad. Because of this, the file names generated will represent the button's position on the keypad, and those file names will not reflect the actual labeling on the button itself. After making a few minor adjustments, and shortening the symbol duration to 100 milliseconds, This is how it sounds. The third and final test was International Morse code. This one also did not go according to plan, because while attempting to generate silence using the zeros function, the script introduced a data type error. To my knowledge, Octave is a weakly typed and dynamically typed language, and the script created a floating point number where there should have been a simple integer. This happens from time to time, and when I requested that ChatGPT address the error, it did what I would have done in this situation by rounding that floating point number toward positive infinity. I also sped up the symbol rate, and I also requested the audio write function since I was getting tired of doing that manually. Here is how it sounded. So, in summary, we had 3 tests, 3 programs, and none of them went exactly according to plan. But the errors were minor, and if I had specified version numbers, I don't think some of them would have occurred. It goes to show that the system is pretty good at addressing errors, and I would say the system is good at automatically generating data structures, like the Morse code dictionary in example 3. That said, one of the most persistent problems I've had with ChatGPT is the fact that it is in fact trained on sometimes outdated code, and even if that code is technically functional or able to compile, it is not necessarily secure. So at least for now, this is probably more of an autopilot than a captain. Anyway, that's all for now. Let me know what you think about this one, stay posted, and as always, have a great day.